We're talking today about the event at Derby County, Paul Warne and Curtis Davis on a panel. What did you think of the event?
I thought it was amazing, to be honest. I remember first getting the email and thinking it was just such a unique opportunity. I hadn't got that from any of the other courses or universities that I'd applied to. And I think it was just really special. I'd never really had the opportunity prior to be that up close and personal with a manager and a captain inside a football club. So I think it was really incredible to have that sort of insight into what it's like inside a football club, and to just sort of see what other potential opportunities like that I could get from the course.
Going back into education later in life, it sort of helped me with the whole time management. Don't leave it to the last minute. Just preparation is key. And maybe, as I've left the meeting now about recruitment for next season, I'll go back into it after that. Like, it's still currently my, job now. Preparation is key. You have to do loads of conversations, meet loads of players. As Curtis would tell you, loads of agents. You're constantly doing stuff that you don't know you're going to have any fruition until the end. And it's like that with education. You do a degree, you might not use every facet of it initially, but in later life you think, hang on a sec, it's open that door for me, or open that door. And I definitely think doing a teaching degree, for me anyway, helped me become a manager, even though I didn't want it. But the owner of the football club saw traits in me that he liked, and a lot of them I got through my education.
Coming back to the event itself, was there anything that was spoken about that really kind of like made you think, oh wow, that's really struck home with me?
Yeah, well, the captain, Curtis Davis, was talking about the use of social media from the players and behind the dressing room, and how that's been normalised a lot more in today's society than, we're talking 20 years ago. And I think it's really important to look at the development of that and how it's much more accepted by football players today.
How much on a day-to-day basis do the media department at the club impact your day-to-day life, and how different is that now to what it was when you started?
We can never get rid of him at our place. Obviously, this is a unique club, and we've got Rams TV, so we've usually got somebody follow us around with a camera. It's kind of become normal, but it's important last year when we go through all the problems and stuff like that, to connect the fans with us, and it's obviously carried on this year in better circumstances. So it is different, but at the same time we're kind of used to it now. It's not too invasive. Obviously we have to do certain interviews and certain bits and bobs which you do at any football club, but yeah, there are times where you're just having a chat and you pop around the corner and I just got a camera in your face.
Yeah, I quite like it, in fairness. So it is different at different clubs. Curtis is right, there is a significant team here, I think it's fair to say. And it has changed massively. So when I used to play, when Curtis was still a wee twinkle, when I used to play, if you played bad, it was fine. One bloke might write a letter to the local paper and say that ball is rubbish. But by the time it got printed, we probably had another game and I played quite well. Whereas I feel for this generation, I do. I think it's really tough that they could, we played really well at the weekend, should have won comfortably, handsomely, and we don't. And not that I would, because I got sense, but if I went onto Twitter, there'd be people contacting the players direct to tell them how bad they performed and that. So look, it's a different world, and I can't say we have to protect them from it, but it's nice for the players to go on and go, at Derby County or whatever it is. I don't even know what the hashtag is. That shows what I know. But go on and say, great win today. Thanks for all the fans following. And then the following week, so many of their fans abuse them. So it is a different world.
We talk about how sort of the media has changed, and it certainly has. Chris, from going back to the start of your time at West Brom, what was a player asked to do week to week, day to day with the media compared to now?
I mean, well, first of all, we were in the Championship, so not anywhere near as much. I mean, the change from that into my third year at the club when we got promoted to the Premier League was just an enormous jump, because suddenly you've got international broadcasters coming down. You've got to do multiple interviews. The manager was generally doing kind of Sky Sports, local TV in one, local radio, national radio, if they were interested, which they weren't always, and then the written all in one. So, I mean, it wasn't overly arduous, and the club weren't asking for I think, a great deal at that point either, because this is when I started. Twitter wasn't a thing, Facebook wasn't a thing, so there wasn't loads of social media content to put out. You just wanted a couple of lengthy interviews that you could write up on the website. Where it has changed to the point where I left West Brom is night and day. It was absolute night and day. I mean, the volume of broadcasters we had down. I mean, when just before I left, Roy Hodgson was the manager, and obviously, for those of you who are of an age like me, would know that Roy is a god in Sweden, because he got Malmo to a European Cup final, which is like it's a bit like getting Mansfield to a European Cup final. It's just a staggering achievement. And Roy would have to do all his interviews in English, but then he would have to basically redo them in Swedish, because the Swedish media would come down and want to speak to him as well. And that was the kind of thing you had to deal with week in, week out. And I mean, I still speak to the guys at the club, because I've still got some good mates over there in the media department, and it's even more mad now.
In terms of the media, I can say this firsthand actually. I think we're going very American in terms of, I did a game recently for Wickham Portsmouth at Adams Park, and it was all access. So it was before the game, you're in the players' lounge, and then you're walking into the changing rooms, and you're doing this, and then you're doing that, and then they're trying to interview Danny Cowley during the game, whilst his team are losing 1-0, and he's got Portsmouth fans singing "Cowley sort 'em out." You know, for me, I've got no problem with progressing in terms of, you know, trying to get access, and I don't mind so much the camera being there, seeing the changing room and seeing him going mad, but have it muted. But if not, you can have managers not being their true selves. You know, it's like, what's he meant to say? His team are 1-0 down, he's trying to sort it out, and you're putting the camera and the mic in his face when he's actually stressed about what am I going to do to sort this out. You know, and if you have cameras, we've had it, you know, you have cameras in at the end of the game. When we've won the game, it's a great time to be in there. But when we've lost a game, you sometimes will hold your tongue because you realise the camera's there, when actually you want to come out and say a few home truths. You maybe take a little bit back. So I think that's a worry for me, that the game's going that way in terms of, you know, interviews at every single point, half time, during the game, all that. We're not American sports where it's stop-start and we play 80 games a season in like basketball or baseball, where actually it doesn't matter that much. You know, ultimately there's a difference between 3 points or no points or whatever it is, and getting into the playoffs or not getting into the playoffs and getting relegated. I think it can be really detrimental to managers that they do those interviews. Because also, if they are winning and they're doing interviews, oh yeah, I'm happy with it, blah, blah, their team then loses 2-1, then the narrative again goes against them because they praise their team. So yeah, that's the worry for me.
That's all from this section of the day. Gentlemen, thank you very much indeed. Curtis, Paul, Andy, Chris, let's hear it for them. Thank you.